When I went there, I didn't know that I'm going to such a place where there's no light, no gas, no water.
Salamu, 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 salamu alaikum ya jama, salamu alaikum ya jama, assalamu alaikum.
We bore witness to love. Love that transcends color and borders from the blessed people of Ghana for Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. They returned the love and care this humble servant gave to them for 8 years, until the entire nation reached out to him and embraced him as her own.
When I was here, I did not think of abandoning this country. I considered myself to be a Ghanaian.
Join us on this unforgettable journey in this 2-part series as we tread the footsteps of humility and humanity, exemplified by Hazur as a young devotee.
A very unassuming, gentle, and humble human being.
Witness the example of dedication.
That man was good. If not because of him, like this school would not come to stay.
Witness the example of love.
That's my best friend.
He was teaching you English.
Witness the example of brotherhood.
President today, Hazur, could lay his head with us.
It's an example of humility. It's an example of obedience. It's an example of commitment. It's an example of recognizing a human being for his work.
Salamu alaikum ya jama, assalamu alaikum.
This was the moment dreamt by the thousands, and yet not witnessed until 1970, when Hazrat Khalifatul Masih III graced Ghana with his presence. Little did anyone know what blessed doors this visit would open in the future. Love for all and hatred for none is what Hazur had preached, and on his return from Ghana, he put it into practice like never before by launching the Nusrat Jahan scheme. Under the scheme, schools and hospitals were started around Ghana and then eventually all over Africa.
When I decided to sacrifice my life for Waqf Zindagi, Tariq-e-Deed office was, I think, they didn't need me because they thought that we don't want somebody who is qualified in this particular subject. I wrote directly to Khalifatul Masih Salis, and he marked that letter to Tariq-e-Deed. So Tariq-e-Deed replied back to Khalifatul Masih Salis that we don't need this boy at present. As soon as Khalifatul Masih Salis received this letter, he said, "You don't need him, but I need him." Then he asked me to go through Nusrat Jahan to Afrika, Ghana. He embraced me, and that was the first ever experience I had by embracing any of the Khalifas. So anyway, then I went to Ghana. The very important thing he asked me, that remember that you are going to Ghana as Waqf Zindagi teacher. And also remember that you belong to the family of Prophet Musa al-Islam. And people there will always keep their eyes on you. So always remember Allah and don't do any act which is against the teachings of Islam and Ahmadiyyat.
Sahibzada Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad dedicated his life, and through the scheme was posted to a very remote and unknown part of northern Ghana as headmaster for the secondary school Jamaat had started in the small town of Salaga. So straight from the comforts of Pakistan to the harshness of the barren north, where Huzur spent an entire year by himself, humbly carrying out his duties.
The principal of the school took me along with him from Kumasi to that place, Salaga. It is the remotest town in northern region of Ghana. The house was very small, 2 rooms, just for 3-4 feet. On one side there was a kitchen, then toilet, bath. I stayed alone for almost 1 year without my family. First I learnt making chapatis there from our missionaries who was living in Tamale. Early morning for the breakfast, and normally I used to take bread and egg and so on. No afternoon lunch. Like an evening after closing from the school, around 4 o'clock I'll prepare my food, sardine or yam, or prepare some chapatis. I lost almost 25 pounds of my weight at that time. And later on it was okay. So I enjoyed that adventure also. That was an adventure.
Now, 30 years later, we commence our journey from the same place where Huzur began his service as a devotee in Ghana.
So I'm now here at the TI Ahmadiyya Secondary School here in Salaga. And first of all, it was this place, this secondary school, that Huzur was first posted to when he arrived from Pakistan to Ghana. And I'm just going to go in there and ask a few people I can find there what they can tell me about Huzur's humble beginnings from here in Salaga.
Treading the same footsteps, it's hard to realize what this place was like when Huzur first arrived here. The Talimul Islam Ahmadiyya Secondary School in Salaga is one of the most recognized schools in the area today, with well over 1,000 students attending from all over the region. It is an incredibly huge establishment with all learning resources readily available for a range of students from different backgrounds and religions. But 30 years earlier, such a teaching facility was impossible to imagine in this region, as secular education was an absolute no for any child. Today, it's a very different story, as you can see.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3,000 plus 2,000? Well, I don't know. You tell me for yourself. So many of them here. And 30 years ago, when Huzur was here, it was almost an impossibility trying to convince parents to send their children to school. 30 years on, look at the numbers of students here. Woo.
Salaga was hundreds of miles away from the rapidly progressing winds of Accra. If this region of Ghana was to progress, then the people had to embrace secular education. Jamaat had built a small school, but the real challenge was getting the students.
At the time Huzur came here, secular education was considered a taboo, a grievous sin. When the Jamaat established the school, the classrooms were pretty much empty.
If you talk of Salaga in those days, Salaga was a place where first people were not interested in education. And so if they are not interested in education, they are not going to promote education. So somebody going there is not going to be encouraged. It is as simple as that.
Now, to talk of Salaga Tia Ahmadiyya Senior High School, you're talking of a secondary school in the most deprived area of Ghana, where there are no facilities whatsoever for any living. Water is a problem, electricity is a problem, where even to lay your head is a problem. But he endured.
Wonderful thing about him is he never complained. Never, ever. For all the 8 years that he lived here, did we see anything of the kind. But I can tell you that it was not easy to live in Salaga.
It was during this time the Jamaat, with the efforts of the then chief of the area, the Kimbewura, had to go around to convince people to send their children to school for secular education. It was during this time that Huzur came into the picture, and it took a lot of resolve, dedication, and resilience from Huzur to be able to add to the numbers of children who came to school. He had to help in building the amenities, the infrastructure, and provide accommodation for some of the students. And almost all of them had free education and their meals heavily subsidized for them.
Mr. Dimbiye is the current headmaster of the school, and he can give us an insight into the role Huzur played in the development of this school.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm all right.
I'm also fine. And how's the school?
Very fine.
Alhamdulillah. We would like to take a look around
we can
campus.
go.
Mr. Dimbiye takes us to the original block, which was refurbished by Huzur. At the time, this was the only building.
This is Old Amas, the first structure built on this site in 1976 that has 4 classrooms.
So current Huzur may have taught in this structure because he was here when?
1977. And so definitely as a headmaster, he did not only do administrative work, he also did some teaching in the classrooms.
Oh, so headmasters at the time were not only doing administration work, they were also fully participating in teaching. So it's very possible that our current Huzur may have taught in one of these classrooms here.
Yes, just that, exactly so.
Oh,
you see the students there and the classrooms.
Yes.
So possibly
he would have taught here.
Yes.
So can we go inside the classroom and just
yes,
replay in our own minds what the situation used to be like?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How you all doing? Oh, so we now have a full classroom. This is about how many students?
That's about 60 plus students.
60 plus students.
Yes.
But 30 years ago, it was very difficult to even have up to 15 students in a class like this.
The whole school population was 15.
The whole school?
The whole school population was 15.
Amazing.
And look at the number of girls in this classroom alone. But you had only 3 girls in 1971.
Wow. The whole school population
was 15, 12 boys and 3 girls.
Wow. All the struggle they had to go through, the founding fathers of this school, including Huzur,
yes.
What has it achieved? Has it impacted on the society, the community around?
It's beneficial. It's terribly rewarding that you look at the population, the accessibility of it. The district director of education acknowledged that this school is one of the schools that admits the chunk of the junior high school graduates in the whole district.
Tell me about it.
Students and parents come to beg for admissions. And at times we switch off our mobile phones. At times we run away. At times we put on the notice admissions closed, and people still come to seek admission. From a very humble beginning and difficulties, a lot of sacrifices put in the school, it has paid off. We have a current student population of 1,200, made up of all shades of students, talking about religions and all around the country make up this population. The infrastructural status of the school is quite commendable. We have 25 classrooms, 2 giant dormitories for boys and girls, and there are still some being constructed. Then we also have a library facility, we have a science lab, we have other facilities in the school. Then if you want to look at generally the programs that we run in the school, the school started with 2 programs, business and general arts. Today, we have 5 programs, business, general arts, science, agric, and home economics. These are the 5 programs run in the school, and highly competitive.
Since its humble beginnings, TI Salaga has made rapid progress through the years, and in its course, it has shaped the lives of people throughout the entire region.
And so 30 years on after the establishment of this school, I can't imagine that this school has come this far. This is the cadet corps of the school doing a march past some of the dignitaries on the days there. And some of those people you see on the days they actually include very high-level government officials. Some of them are high-level district chief executives and all that. And some of them did attend this school. This is how far this school has come. And one can only imagine the kind of sacrifice that had to go into establishing this school.
The original school at the time of Hazur's arrival was a disused, abandoned building, and Hazur literally had to rebuild the school from the ground up. Salaga is 90 miles away from the nearest city of Tamale, where all the supplies for the school had to be bought from.
If he needs anything, he cannot get from the market because it's a small place. So he has to travel to a place like Tamale or to go to Kumasi.
Those days, one, you wouldn't even have that luxury of thinking about how many hours are you going to take. That's one. 2, which means of the transport was going to carry you. Is it a tractor or that? The mummy trucks, there was one Tata bus that served from Tamale to Makango. But even the 3rd day, I was very tiny. I had to struggle between people before I could get to the
3
gates.
days? Did you have a breakdown?
No, that was the only means for so many people.
Yes, so?
The struggle and the competition was high.
This was in 83?
83.
And Hazur was here in 77
and 79.
And so by 83, things may have even improved a bit.
Better.
Oh.
Hazur would travel on public transport available at the time himself 90 miles on dusty broken roads to Tamale and bring building materials 90 miles back. And public transport in northern Ghana at that time wasn't exactly what you may have in mind.
This is the kind of road that Hazur would travel on anytime he needed to travel between Salaga and Tamale, whenever he needed any small thing for his family or for himself. And when he was lucky, he would do this journey on a bus. Otherwise, he had no other choice but to make the journey 90 miles away from here on, well, the notorious mode of transportation known in Ghana as
bone shaker. It's a sort of truck made of wood, timber. It's not the type of, metallic, vehicles that we know of. So they call it bone shaker because even the seat is made up of just timber of that, width. We put it there and then we sit on it.
Sometimes you take about 2 days to recover from the kind of pain you receive after riding in a vehicle like this. Usually it's made of wooden structures and with big ties, sometimes double ties behind it. And usually it's a rickety vehicle, as you can see. Not much can be said, but during the time Hazur was here, these are the kinds of vehicles he used to travel on whenever he didn't have the government vehicle that would usually take him from Makango to Tamale through Salaga and all that. So these are the kind of vehicles he used to ride on. Now, what you actually see here is a modern type of bone shaker. We couldn't lay hands on the type that Hazur himself used to ride on, but we were fortunate to have a replica from the TI Ahmadiyya Secondary School in Salaga. I'll now jump on the bone shaker track and have a ride and just have a feel of what Hazur may have been going through whenever he took a ride on a bone shaker.
Tamale. Sorry.
This is a real life experience about what Uzu actually.
This is my first experience, man. Thanks, man.
This is only the beginning for Abdul Hai, but he is about to find out what bone shaker really means.
So I am riding in a modern day bone shaker. This is not the exact type you would find 30 years ago. Can you tell me your experiences in riding in bone shakers?
Actually, riding in bone shaker is a hell. If you look at it, at the end of the day, when you get to your destination, you can't best tell whether it's your joints, your waist, your pain, your eyes. You can't even tell exactly which part of your body that is disturbing you.
Yeah, what are some of the challenges in riding on a bone shaker? Have you ever been engaged in an accident or something?
Oh, for the bone shaker, accident in bone shaker, most of the times a lot of people die, just like fowls. Because when the vehicle is landing, there's nothing to protect you.
And how often do bone shakers break down in terms of the engine, maybe brake failures and all?
Oh, particularly this part of the country, most of our bone shakers don't even have brakes. So they use the GS to control.
So that again, they don't have what?
They don't have brakes.
So how do they stop?
So when he's going, the driver use the GS. If he's accelerating so much, he will push it to the first. In order so that you see that the vehicle will be shaking, ejecting here and there. Then sometimes the driver mate will jump down, push the track, a choke, then the vehicle will run over it and will pick it and push it for the second time before the vehicle is able to slow down.
I can't believe it.
With his bag.
This man can do the job. Look at him there.
So in a situation where the driver has to make an emergency stop, what happens?
That is why we have a lot of accidents in the system, because it cannot stop when it is in terms of emergency stops.
So what this means and what it tells me is that Uzu was so humble that anytime he could not get a ride on a government bus, he would join one of these trucks. And I just told you that this truck is more comfortable than what was used 30 years ago.
This is what we meant when we said the public transport which Uzu used to take for 90 miles and back.
Oh, what a ride, man! What a ride! I can't believe this.
One of the lovely rides in town. To me, that was too much.
I know, and when I even ride in this bone shaker, I could assume the real bone shaker Uzu use, how I feel.
From Salaga, there was a big city called Tamale. We used to go there for building material, because at that time we were building some school block, even for your commodities like groceries and all things, sort of things. There was no proper means of transport. There was only one government transport bus. We used to come from Tamale in the morning time and one in the evening time. Nobody knows at what time it will get broken down and you are stranded on the way. Once I and our missionary, Razak Bhatt Sahab, were traveling to Tamale. You would not find any place even to stand there. So what we used to do is take the bus when it reaches to Salaga and go to the end of the road, 17 miles further, and there you could easily get some seat. So we used to do 34 miles extra travel for getting a seat. One day, bus got broken down there. It was evening time. I was going to purchase some building material for our building. We were contractor there, we were builder there, we were everybody. I was everything there. I was having some big amount in my briefcase. Night was fast approaching, and I was afraid that, as for me, it doesn't matter, but this money, somebody can snatch the bag and then take it away. Anyway, 8, 9, 10. So later on they announced that now they have sent the message to Tamale. The bus will soon come. And that soon was after 8 hours. So we spent the whole night there. I found some bench there. I sat on it and held my briefcase very, very firmly. And I asked Maulvi Sahib that I think half night you sleep and half night I sleep. The next morning around 4 o'clock in the morning, the bus came and we climbed on it and reached to Male. And that was also a good adventure.
Islam has been brought by Allah. Let them merge it. It is the way to Allah.
Well, so far I've felt it, I've seen it all, and I've heard it all from people who lived with Huzur whilst he stayed in Salaga. Now, these people tell me that while Huzur lived with them, he exhibited so much resilience, resolve, commitment, and the fear of God to the extent that it reflected in whatever he did. I'm now on my way to Esachur, where Huzur was posted to after 3 years of service in Salaga, to speak to a few people about the life he led whilst he stayed here.
After 3 years of service in Salaga, Huzur was posted to another small and unknown town of Esachur. Esachur lies at a distance of just over a mile from another small town, Ikrafu, which holds immense importance for Jamaat, as this was the birthplace of Ahmadiyyat in Ghana. Esachur was no Salaga. Even today, it is an incredibly small town, and even if the harsh savanna of the north was switched with a more greener area, Esachur did not come without its challenges for Huzur. Even here, getting students to come to school was no easy task. But it was the wise Ikumfi paramount chief Nana Achin who gave his complete support for the school and welcomed the Jamaat to run it. We're here to meet the chief's son, Augustus Achin, who can throw more light on Huzur's time in Esachur.
I'm fine. How are you too?
I'm very fine.
That's good. That's good.
Can you tell me about Nana Achin, your father, who used to be chief here?
Yeah, Nana Achin, he was the chief of Ikumfi, traditional area, and he ruled for almost 40 years. And even one time he was the presidential commissioner during the Nkrumah regime.
Wow.
When Nkrumah is not there, he used to replace Nkrumah. Those days.
Nkrumah, the first president.
The first president of Ghana.
So this is where he used to live.
This is where he went.
I've heard there's a man
Yeah.
who came from Pakistan, did some work in the northern region, and then was posted to this very town.
Okay, yes.
And your father, what did your father do for you?
Yes, the same thing. My father also gave his complete.
Do you remember this man?
I remember that man.
What was his name?
He was the Ahmed.
Mr. Ahmed.
Something Ahmed.
That's what you remember, Mr.
Yes,
Ahmed?
that's what I'm. Yes.
Okay.
He was the headmaster of the Ahmadiyya Secondary School. Yes. So he came. I think when he came, my father welcomed him very well, and he gave out his burden, complete burden to him, on free of charge.
Oh.
Because my father wanted the school to come and stay.
Can I see that building?
Yes, you can see.
The very first place
exactly,
your dad gave to him?
Place my dad gave to him.
So, this is the building?
Yes. This is the building.
Wow.
This is where my father gave it to the first headmaster of the Ahmadiyya.
Do you remember the first day he moved in?
Yes, they brought him from Accra. So that time my father have already assured the Amir in Ghana that whoever comes as the headmaster, he is prepared to give out his burden to him. So the burden was just there standby for any whoever who comes in.
So your dad was ready to release his building to accommodate the headmaster of the Ahmadiyya Secondary School, of the Ahmadiyya School here in Esachur.
Exactly. Not even the accommodation of even the headmaster alone. He also give out other burdens also for schools and then dormitories as well. And the schools are also here, which I think we can.
Oh, just here?
Yes, just here. Before then, it was a market. But because my father wanted the school to come and stay, he bought these brick blocks and then fenced wall it. For the meantime, the students should be here. So that's the Form 1, Form 2, Form 3.